You know that feeling of being safe in your own home? Emily thought she had everything under control until the man who was supposed to be just a client became her worst nightmare. A betrayal that seemed fleeting turned into a twisted game of blackmail, threats, and a race against time to save her life and her family. And the worst part, it was all caught on camera. This is the story of Emily Carter, a devoted wife, a loving mother, and a woman who, in trying to rekindle her marriage, ignited a fire she barely escaped with her life. Emily and David Carter had been married for 13 years. They had a 9-year-old daughter, little Lily, and together they ran a mid-sized real estate agency in a quiet town in the United States. The love between them still existed, but it had fallen asleep. While Emily tried to rekindle the spark with romantic dinner invitations, David remained buried in work and business trips, tired of the routine and her husband's emotional absence. Emily did what many women do. She tried one more time. She hired a babysitter, prepared a special dinner, put on her best dress, and waited. David never showed up. It was during one of those trips that the past came knocking. A client walked into the agency, a refined-looking man, polite, with an intense gaze. He introduced himself as Ethan Blake, and when he saw Emily, he smiled like someone who had just found a long-lost piece of his youth. "You don't remember me, do you?" "I'm sorry. Should I?" Ethan was an old classmate, overweight and shy as a teenager. He had been secretly in love with Emily, the unattainable dream girl. He had even written her a poem, which she dismissed without a second glance. They laughed together at the memory. Ethan was looking for a house, and coincidentally or not, he chose one right on Emily's street. As old friends, he invited her to dinner to celebrate the purchase. She hesitated, but went. A light dinner, wine, laughter, memories, and then blackout. Emily woke up naked in his bed, disoriented, in shock. Ethan, with a calm smile, described the night in detail, said it had been wonderful, that she had completely given herself to him. She remembered nothing. Dazed, she ran home, suffocated by a crushing sense of guilt. Emily couldn't sleep. The taste of the wine still lingered bitterly on her tongue. Even without remembering a thing, the guilt was crushing her. She felt disgusted with herself. She thought of Lily, her daughter, of David, her distant husband, but still, her partner. The next day, Ethan showed up at the real estate office with flowers. "I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I didn't mean to leave you so confused." She froze. This was her workplace, the space she shared with her husband. "You can't come here," she said loudly, drawing the attention of her coworkers. They stepped outside to talk. Ethan, in a calm and persuasive tone, dropped words that hit deep. "You live this perfect life. But tell me, Emily, haven't you ever wanted to escape? To be someone else, just for one night?" She tried to resist, but his words were like sweet poison, seductive, calculated, and before she knew it, she was back in his bed. This time, Ethan opened up. He spoke about his ex-wife, Claire, said she fell into depression after a miscarriage, that he tried to help her, that she took her own life. He cried, and Emily, how emotionally involved, believed him. Weeks went by. Secret meetings, deleted messages, but Emily wanted to stop. Inside, she was bleeding. She didn't want to destroy her family. She tried to end it, but Ethan changed. "You think you can just toss me aside like that? You're scaring me, Ethan. This is just the beginning." Around the same time, David returned from a business trip, carrying a secret. In tears, he confessed, "Emily, I cheated on you a year ago. It was a mistake. I regret it every single day. Please forgive me." Emily said nothing. His betrayal hurt, but hers ran far deeper. She asked, "If it were the other way around, would you forgive me? You're so much better than I am. You'd never do that to me." The weight of his hypocrisy crushed her, but Ethan had no intention of disappearing. He began to threaten her, said he would send photos of them together to David if she didn't agree to see him again, and he started inserting himself into their lives. Approached David with a business proposal. Emily tried to stop it. "Don't do business with him." But David, eager to prove himself and rebuild their marriage, wanted to impress her. He agreed, Ethan was everywhere: dinners, events, even their home. One day, he showed up uninvited, with a bottle of wine, pretending to talk business with David. But it was nothing more than a game to provoke Emily. Rachel, Emily's best friend and a fellow real estate agent, knew about the affair. But something about Ethan didn't sit right with her. She began digging, finding consistencies in his story about Claire. She spoke to Claire's mother, who became visibly upset when Rachel suggested Claire may not have taken her own life, but had been murdered. Meanwhile, Ethan had hired a private investigator to follow Emily and Rachel. He was becoming paranoid, controlling. The project with David was growing, giving Ethan even more access to the Carter home. And it was on one of those nights that everything nearly ended in tragedy. On what seemed like an ordinary night, Ethan came to the Carters' home under the pretense of discussing project details with David. But he had a plan. While they talked, Ethan poured David a drink, one laced with something. Not long after, David passed out on the couch. Hearing the muffled sound of something falling, Emily rushed downstairs and came face to face with Ethan in the hallway. He shoved her into the bedroom. "You have 2 days, Emily. Either leave your family, or I'll destroy everything you love." She tried to scream. He covered her mouth, told her he knew exactly what he was doing, that he'd done it before, that after losing Claire, he swore he would never let a woman slip away again. "I've lost everything once. This time, I get to decide how the story ends." Meanwhile, Rachel had uncovered the case of another woman, Sophie Miller, who had disappeared years ago and also had ties to Ethan. Sophie's sister, Angela, said no one knew where she was. But as soon as Rachel left, Angela made a call. Sophie was alive, hiding. Back in town, Ethan was growing more dangerous. He went to the school and picked up Lily without telling Emily. When she found out, she panicked. "I want a child with you too. We'll build a new family, Emily." That's when Sophie stepped forward. She went to Emily, told her everything. "He threatened me with videos. He recorded everything. He showed me how he killed Claire. It was him, and he's proud of it. Why didn't you report him?" "Because he has evidence, photos, videos, and powerful friends. The only way to stop him is to expose everything." Emily made the most dangerous decision of her life. She told David she was in love with Ethan, that she was leaving to be with him. David was heartbroken, confused, but he respected her decision. Now living under the same roof as Ethan, Emily searched for proof. One night, she woke to a faint sound. She crept into the living room and saw him. Ethan, in the dark, was watching a video. It was Claire tied up, screaming, begging. His eyes gleamed. A twisted smile crept across his face. Emily had to fight, not to scream. Days later, she discovered where he kept the device with all the videos, inside a safe. She watched him type in the code, waited for him to leave, and then she made her move. When Ethan left for work, Emily rushed to the safe, entered the code, and retrieved the device. She plugged it into her laptop and began sending the videos to herself, to Rachel, and to David. But Ethan received a security alert on his phone. Safe accessed. He raced back home immediately. As he walked in, he saw Emily with the laptop open, the video still uploading. Without hesitation, he punched her. Emily blacked out. When she came to, her hands were already tied. "You're just like the others. You're going to pay." He told her he'd drug her, put her in the car, and stage an accident, that everyone would believe she'd been driving drunk. And then, he confessed, "That night, when you thought you cheated on him, I drugged you. And David, too. His betrayal, I orchestrated it." From the very beginning, Emily sobbed, terrified. He placed her in the car, but before he could drive away, David showed up. He had received the videos. He had called the police, and he came to save the woman he still loved despite everything. Ethan tried to flee, but David confronted him. They fought. The car turned into a battlefield. Emily managed to escape and ran to the officers who had just arrived. Ethan was arrested. The video was the final piece of evidence. He was tried and sentenced to life in prison for the crimes against Claire and for the new evidence brought forward by Sophie. Emily and David moved to a new city. They started over from scratch, With their daughter, they opened a new real estate agency, and even with the scars of the past, they found the strength to rebuild what evil had nearly destroyed. Because sometimes, true love isn't the kind that never breaks, but the kind that chooses to forgive and to protect, even when all seems lost. And now, I want to hear from you. Do you believe it's possible to start over after a deep wound? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your story might inspire someone else too. If this story touched your heart, leave a like, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the powerful stories we create with so much care just for you. Until next time, and never forget, goodness always finds a way.